The most precious gift we can offer anyone is our attention. When mindfulness embraces those we love, they will bloom like flowers. Niet Han. Come see the cherry trees of a water constellation and the round key of the rapid universe. Come touch the fire of instantaneous blue. Come before its petals are consumed. Pablo Neruda. I want to do with you what the spring does with the cherry trees. Pablo Neruda. What a strange thing. To be alive beneath cherry blossoms. Kobayashi Isa. We celebrate the cherry tree not for its efficiency but for its effectiveness, and for its beauty. Its materials are in constant flow, and all those thousands of useless cherry blossoms look gorgeous. Then they fall to the ground and become soil again, so there's no problem. William McDonough. The work of preservation demands that the feelings playing about in one's guts not be turned into action. Just watch their passing like cherry blossoms. Maxine Hong Kingston. It may just be because I get homesick, but I have concluded Washington's cherry blossoms are just plain overrated. Newt Gingrich. Between our two lives, there is also the life of the cherry blossom, Matsuo Basho. Due to their short bloom time, sakura blossoms are a metaphor for life itself, beautiful yet fleeting. You'll realize when you're as old as me to hang on to the good times because they won't last forever. Shannon Mullen. Is hung with bloom along the bough. Pablo Neruda. It looks like rain in cherry blossom lane, the sunshine of your smiles no longer there. It looks like rain in cherry blossom lane, your golden voice no longer fills the air. Guy Lombardo. Sad bright eyes are cherry blossoms, your true love will never wake up. Communique. What's your story, baby? No control of what I am saying, winter leaves still make me believe, no vendettas, just a cherry blossom tree. Manic Street Preachers. The spring comes again, EQ. Looking about I see no cherry blossoms and no crimson leaves, a straw thatched hut by a bay in the autumn dusk. Fujiwara no Tika. I've seen spring come to the orchard every year as far back as I can remember and have never grown tired of it. Oh, the wonder of it. The outrageous beauty. God didn't have to give us cherry blossoms, you know. He didn't have to make apple trees and peach trees burst into flower and fragrance. But God just loves to splurge. He gives us all this magnificence, and then if that isn't enough, He provides fruit from such extravagance. Lynn Austin. For in spite of the snapdragons and the duty millers and the cherry blossoms, it was always winter. Janet Frame. The Japanese school year begins in spring, so mothers can send off their children as cherry blossoms fall from the branches. Kathy Davidson. However far I gaze, neither cherry blossoms nor crimson leaves are insightful. Only a fisherman's hut on the shore in the autumnal evening. Fujiwara no Tika. On a moonlit night, after a snowfall, or under cherry blossoms, it adds to our pleasure if, while chatting at our ease, we bring forth the wine cups. Yoshida Kenko. From all these trees, in the salads, the soup, everywhere, cherry blossoms fall. Matsuo Basho. It is springtime now. While the world looks for a new war to fight, you look for the cherry blossom to watch. Let the stupid seeks the violence, you seek the elegance. Mehmet Murad Ilden. When the mind is really absent, in that silence, in that unlimited space, your potential starts glowing, radiating, flowering. Suddenly you are full of cherry blossoms, a new presence, a new fragrance. Rajneesh. The cloud-like effect of the cherry trees in bloom on Mount Yoshino has inspired poets and common folk in Japan for over 1,000 years, and McClellan. As the poet Motorori famously expressed it, if one should ask you concerning the spirit of a true Japanese, point to the wild cherry blossom glowing in the sun. And McClellan. The ornamental cherry tree's blossoms, called sakura, are as closely associated with the image of Japan held by the rest of the world as is Mount Fuji. And McClellan. Cherry blossoms say spring looks at the life cycle of a cherry tree, the history behind the gift of the Japanese cherry trees to our nation's capital, and the association of cherry trees in spring. Vibrant scenes from the Cherry Blossom Festival and the flood of visitors to the tidal basin are balanced with shots of the natural beauty of these trees. Jill Esbaum. Our hearts would be in spring, Arawara no Narahira. If I were asked to explain the Japanese spirit, I would say it is wild cherry blossoms glowing in the morning sun. Motorori Norinyaga. I have a pretty good memory, but memories are time beings, too, like cherry blossoms or ginkgo leaves. For a while they are beautiful, and then they fade and die. Ruth Ozeki. Yeah, you should taste Her Majesty my little cherry blossom just like a crow, it cut my throat. Paolo Nutini. So cross me cherry blossom tree, for you have witnessed it all, you've seen the world change suddenly at its height and at its fall. Imaginary cities. I hiked out to the country on a path of self-discovery, but all I found was a cherry blossom tree, as I believe in harming melodies, hypnotized by a silent breeze. The of this cherry blossom tree, imaginary cities. Cherry blossom, I can't let you go, I'm not an expert, but I know you're like gold, you pop up, shine bright, then you hit the road. John Vinyl. Cherry blossom is falling, cherry blossom is on its way out here, a new word is calling, it hears me too and it wants me to shout it out. Nitzareb. Cherry blossoms are explored as symbols in Japanese art and artifacts, and in images of Japanism found in Western art, and McClellan. These exuberant festivals celebrate the ethereal and glorious springtime blooming of the ancient cherry blossom tree and its role today as an instrument of diplomacy, landscape enhancement, and eternal sign of spring and romance. And McClellan. Cherry plum blossoms on the workroom bench where we can see it all our working hours. In all my garden days of ladyhood, I never met girls who so loved sweet flowers. Lesbia Harford. I feel as though as I touch those cherry blossom petals, cup the budding cherry flowers in my hands, I am slowly, yet lovingly stroking Bridget's silky pretty face. Nobody knows. Outside it's a perfect spring night. We stand on the sidewalk in front of our apartment building, and Henry takes my hand, and I look at him, and I raise our joined hands, and Henry twirls me around, and soon we're dancing down Belle Plaine Avenue. No music but the sound of cars whooshing by and our own laughter, and the smell of cherry blossoms that fall like snow on the sidewalk as we dance underneath the trees. Audrey Niffenegger. Look at the cherry blossoms. Their color and scent fall with them, are gone forever, yet mindless the spring comes again. EQ. The significance of the cherry blossom tree in Japanese culture goes back hundreds of years. In their country, the cherry blossom represents the fragility and the beauty of life. It's a reminder that life is almost overwhelmingly beautiful, but that it is also tragically short. Mamoru Kanto. Light as feathers, as fleeting as zephyr, one moment they breathed pink, the next they faded. Cherry blossoms were as much an inspiration for beautiful verse as they were a reminder of life's fickleness, she thought. Alice Poon. Soldiers falling fast, battle of white and scarlet, blossoms on the ground. David Cudler. Ah, if in this world there were no such thing as cherry blossoms, perhaps then in springtime our hearts would be at peace. Arawara no Narahira. Suddenly she was seeing the buds on the cherry trees around her. She could feel the energy packed within them, a bouquet of fireworks whose fuse had already been lit. She could smell them, too, the subtle essence of pink and lollipops, the sweetness deepened by the scent of the slowly warming earth below them. Erica Bauermeister. Looking about I see no cherry blossoms and no crimson leaves, a straw-thatched hut by a bay in the autumn dusk. Fujiwara no Tika. The work of preservation demands that the feelings playing about in one's guts not be turned into action. Just watch their passing like cherry blossoms. Maxine Hong Kingston. On a moonlit night, after a snowfall, or under cherry blossoms, it adds to our pleasure if, while chatting at our ease, we bring forth the wine cups. Yoshida Kenko. Due to their short bloom time, sakura blossoms are a metaphor for life itself, beautiful yet fleeting. You'll realize when you're as old as me to hang on to the good times because they won't last forever. Shannon Mullen.